This is the main event of the evening. 12 rounds of boxing for the unification of the WBC and the WBA heavyweight championships. Introducing, in the red corner, fighting out of Magnolia, North Carolina, weighing in at 233 pounds, with a professional record of 19 wins, 5 defeats, with 14 KOs. Ladies and gentlemen, here is the WBA heavyweight champion of the world, James Bone Crusher Smith.
It looks as though he means business by that expression.
And in the blue corner, from Catskill, New York, weighing 219 pounds. He is undefeated in his professional career with 28 wins, no defeats, 26 KOs. He is the WBC heavyweight champion of the world, Iron Mike Tyson.
Well, I tell you can cut the atmosphere with a knife here. It really is building up to an incredible tension. The breakdown of the tail of the tape. Actually, Bone Crusher Smith, he looks even bigger than 6'4", and sometimes Tyson a little smaller than 5'11½". But I think maybe that 13 years difference in age could make quite a bit difference here. Certainly that's how the odd players see it. But let's get it on, shouts the referee. And it's almost like sitting on red alert here, waiting for the explosion to happen. So we can't afford to blink, and I'm sure that these heavyweights can't either. So there we go then. He's had a couple of one-round wins now, Bone Crusher Smith, but can he do it against the man who specialises in knocking people over in one round? Stone difference between them. 16-9, 15-9. With that right hand there, almost felt the wind of that at the commentary position right against the ring apron. Now this is where we know that Mike Tyson's chin's short to be tested. No reason to suspect he's not the Iron Man. And he really comes out firing early, doesn't he, Tyson? He doesn't want to stand and look at anybody. The way he can duck and dive there, it's a smart move, that. He's actually got more boxing ability than given credit for, I think. Well, the old Bone Crusher's not coming out throwing the punches as he did with Tim Witherspoon. I think that was desperation. Maybe he's in much better condition now and feels he can bide his time, but can he? The referee flicking the gloves away there to stop them hanging on. Oh, what a punch-up right away. They're not holding back anything, I promise you that. Well, he's already sampled a few punches, Bone Crusher Smith, and doesn't seem too disturbed at this point. Oh, and again there. Going to hang on for dear life. He's going to stick to him like a barnacle by the look of it at close quarters. Well, if Bone Crusher's hoping that Tyson will punch himself out, it might be a mistaken tactic. Because even in the fights that went 10 rounds and only 2 of those from 28, he won clearly, Tyson. Countdown for the end of the first. And the stare from Tyson And Bone Crusher's saying, what's this all about? And that's really unnecessary, that. I'm disappointed to see them do that, because they're out of the ring, they're not that sort of character. But they must have really steamed themselves up for this one. And now the referee's got a job on his hands. Fighting after the bell is what they call going amateur on them in the pro game.
Don't close your eyes, look at him and punch. You the jab first, Crush. You hear me?
Step with it.
So that's the end of now. You see that thing is going to happen there. They're doing the staring bit. And then it was Tyson who just flicked that punch out. I mean, his flicks can hurt. Well, no Mr. Nice Guy in this fight. Round 2. And now it's really going to get bad-tempered, I suspect. Well, very much untidy. Just wiped a little bit of blood away from his eye there, I think, Bone Crusher. And I'm not surprised the way they've been bumping and boring close in like that. Well, I think that's why Tyson's getting mad at him a little bit. He is holding on a bit at close quarters, in fact, quite a bit. And he takes a bit of shoving off. Well, he found the target for that one. He's been missing a bit with him, Tyson, but the left hook came through. But he really is grabbing for dear life there. Now, the referee is going to do something about this, I'm sure. And he's sending him a neutral corner. And he's taking a point away for holding for Smith. Well, I don't think it's going to go to points anyway. In fact, I'm sure it isn't. Well, there's not too much Marquis of Queensberry rules about this. I think they part the rules at the gates in here in Las Vegas. And he is cut around the left eye, as I thought he was. It's just worse than since I first mentioned it at the start of the second Bone Crusher. So he's got to get a bit desperate now. It's amazing with Bone Crusher. It's as though he doesn't really want to be in there at this stage. It's really incredible. Because he's only really started to make the big money. He became known really in the fight game when he managed to win in the last round against Frank Bruno in London. And now he just can't keep this octopus of a fighter off. That seems to be the problem. Now he's trying to use the ring. I'm surprised he didn't do that earlier as we get the countdown for the second. And some booing coming from the crowd. Well, as I said, if he's hoping to let Tyson punch himself up, that's a mistake. And he wants to go on fighting. This is really bad. I can't understand why they're doing this. Two disciplined professionals. And Tyson's trainer, Kevin Rooney, saying, sit down, sit down. And the same there in Bone Crusher's corner.
Not bad.
So the doctor having a look at it. There it is.
Crusher, got to move your hands.
And you can hear Emil Griffiths there, the former world champion, saying, come on, you've got to move your hands. Now let's have a look at some replay there now. It's all Tyson crowded in, and it's Bone Crusher hanging on for the most part.
1-2, Crusher. 1-2.
1-2, that's boxing parlance for the left hand, followed by the straight right. But at 33, he's looking older by the minute as we come out for round 3. And he's going to have trouble with that cut over the left eye because they haven't quite staunched it in the corner there between rounds. Oh, now that right hand got through now. Tyson's really getting mad at Bone Crusher for hanging on, and you don't get disqualified in an American ring unless it really is persistent fouling. shouting out, don't wait in Tyson's corner, let punches go. Again, he's wiping the blood away from his eye there, Smith. Well, I tell you, the expression on his face now, Smith, is sort of nobody knows the troubles I've seen, and he's grimacing the whole time. Notice that? Well, I can understand the reason for trying to nullify Tyson at close quarters, but not as blatantly as that. There it is again, you see. And the referee really having to work harder than the fighters at times. Oh, now he's trying to unleash some punches there, Smith. Desperation starting to set in the third. Talking to the referee there, he's complaining about something. Probably the way Tyson's head was coming in there. Tyson, I think, would prefer Bone Crusher to open up with him and start waving punches, but he won't do it. Well, they're not going to go out in the game, I hope. It's a pity they don't fight harder during the round instead of waiting until the bell goes.
Not bad.
Not bad, they say in the corner there. To the Nevada State Commission doctor, and the supervisor in charge here for this fight is Ray Clark from England. So there, Kevin Rooney calling for Mike Tyson to use his jab more, but no question Tyson ahead because Bone Crusher just hasn't done enough. Coming up for the fourth then. There's been quite a lot of betting on how many rounds this would go, so I think quite a few people here have, as they say, done their money. It looks so dangerous when he throws that long right hand to Bone Crusher Smith, but it just missed the target again. Well, you know, sometimes heavyweights, they can come apart overnight in this game, particularly when they get past the great divide, the age of 30. And I'm just wondering whether this could have happened to Bone Crusher, because he's just not throwing the effective punches that we've seen him, certainly in the Witherspoon fight, and Mike Weaver he knocked out in one round. But they're all saying in the Tyson camp that this fellow, Mike, intimidates his opponents, and I think he's done it here. Well, a clean finish for that one, although Tyson was still giving him the stare, as if you want to go on without the break, It's okay by me. A little bit of touch of the all-in wrestling will finish now. Warned him there for misuse of the elbow, Tyson. So that's where they get the impression giving him the elbow. Trying to make Tyson look ordinary, but he's not doing anything to win the fight by walking away like that. We haven't come to see road work. The referee has got to do something about that. Well, if Smith's got any ideas that Tyson won't stay the course or fall apart, that's a mistake, because he's simply not working him hard enough to do that. There was a time in his amateur career when Tyson got mad at an opponent who refused to fight him and walked out the ring and got disqualified for it. And they're still at it. I had never seen, certainly, a championship fight where they're going at it after the bell like this.
You're scratching my face. You're scratching me.
You hear what he said there to the referee? You're scratching my face. The referee came over to get some grease off his face. Actually, he should have left it to the second. That's another one I've never heard of in this game. Round 7. Oh, that's possibly the best punch. It's taken him 7 rounds to get through, and he's trying to laugh at it now, Smith. It's a tough game, this, when you can be hit on the chin and laugh, I tell you. He tried to almost creep inside in there, didn't he? Duck under the fence and then throw the shot. Now who's going to stay the course better of the two, because don't forget that Frank Bruno was winning quite easily at Wembley, but sort of ran out of gas and ran into a punch, and Bruno and Smith won in the last round, in the 10th, but this one's scheduled for 12. The blood showing again now around Smith's face. Well, that was, they almost hit him on the floor there, and he fell across his feet there. There was no knockdown, and referee Mills Lane quite right there. That only adds to the tension and the needle that it hasn't just corrected, it's been there from the start. Now he's standing and trading Smith. This is what we've been waiting for. That's the best round for Smith there at the end. He really clobbered him at the finish, but he took the punch well, Tyson. Have a look at some replay now of that one. Got inside, and you'll see that slip. You see, he fell over, and just as well he missed it with that punch. He's just trying to rock out as much as he can, but fell across his legs there, Tyson. He was more embarrassed than hurt. Top roll to Dunshire is back in the game there. Only protection are allowed above the waistline in boxing for round 8. At the end of the 7th there, Smith really unloaded some dangerous looking punches. Now, is this really what he's been trying to do from the start or not? Have I read the fight wrongly in that sense that I thought he was kind of just ineffectual, but maybe he was hoping to wear Tyson down. He's got it to do, though. He simply hasn't done enough early on. He's way behind. They're calling out numbers in Tyson's corner. They're plan numbers, whatever that is, for the practice punches that they want him to unload. Rather like a quarterback calling for the team in football here. That was more like it, but it still didn't rock Smith. He's not calling break there. It's surprising. He's trying to physically partner the whole time, and he's only a little fellow, the referee. There he is. It's really hard work in there for him. His shirt's blood spattered. Oh, that was more spectacular. The photographer's cameras clicked at that point. So another point off for Smith for holding. So really he's got no chance now. He's got to knock Tyson out.
Just a jab, slipping and hitting, starting to really come to slip and hit. A lot of jabs. He's winning easy. Keep it up.
Round 9. And Mike Tyson undeniably well ahead, particularly as twice the referee's taken points away from Smith for holding. For what it matters, the 3 knockdown rule is in effect, which if one boxer goes down 3 times in a round, it's automatically over, as it was with Bone Crusher against Tim Witherspoon. It's a combination of Boxing Council and Boxing Association rules on this one. Tyson's not the sort of fighter that is ever satisfied of winning on points, even if it's clearly. He had to do that twice in 28 fights. In fact, he stopped Jose Ribalta in the last round. But it's now up to Tyson to track him down and cut the ringside down, cut the corners off a bit when he's doing that. So the crowd now jeering Smith, and understandably so. expectations with that one, but really it was only half a punch. It looked better than it was. Great expectations, of course, because Tyson has set his own standards by knocking people out so spectacularly that when it doesn't happen, you get disappointed. But with him, what can I tell you? It's any second he can do it. It's just shown up the inexperience a bit of Tyson here. So very much a star glittering night here with the personalities around the ringside and the famous, from Rocky Stallone to Muhammad Ali to film actors.
He's put some pressure on this guy. He's just trying to control himself.
And now come back. Not throw one punch with your hand alone. Come back with your left hook.
Round scheduled for 12, this unification of the heavyweight championship of the world. With Mike Tyson well ahead, but Bone Crusher just showing up some of the limitations with the young terror. Tyson can draw Smith into a fight, into just standing there and trading level with him, and he's got more chance of landing his famous knockout punch. He's 6 pounds heavier, Smith, than when he fought Frank Bruno back in '84, which ended in the 10th round. They've done well, really, these seconds in Smith's corner to keep that left eye injury staunched okay. But early on that just might worsen a bit and have to be stopped, and that would have been a pity. Well, we're now certainly seeing Tyson extended anyway, because if it goes further than this round, it'll be totally new territory for Tyson. He's only completed 10 rounds twice. With a full head of steam there, Tyson. I'm sure of that anyway. Just can't get through the long arms and the sheer physical size of this man. Get the feeling that Bone Crusher say, well, I may not be the best heavyweight champion that you've seen around, but I'm going to spoil it for those who think they are. twitch, but a habit that Tyson has of twitching his head, and he said to the seconds, I feel great. So he's not worried about coming to the 11th round for the first time in his career. At this pace, he could fight all night, including between rounds. They've yelled in Crusher's corner there to use the left hook to the body to get the right hand. References were telling him. But I'm not sure that's a good tactic at all. I wouldn't have thought punches to the body would worry Tyson. Built like a freight train, and he comes straight ahead on rails at you. Tried it there, but it was just, it wasn't to the body, it was just below the chin. The corner there, Tyson took his eyes off the opponent. Oh, a bit risky to do, midway through the 11th. The referee's taking a chance when he gets in between them there. He really could catch a blow. That's why he should be calling break, really. Tyson, who must have heard what they were saying in Crusher's corner, he used the left hook to the body instead there. Well, that's really a little bit of time wasting all the way there with Bone Crusher. He just hasn't got the fitness or the youth anymore, to be honest. That's probably... He didn't start professional boxing until he was 28. Number of people saying it's burst the bubble, but in many respects he's fought a very awkward opponent, and you can't win much clearer than he's been winning, and he's absorbed punches well. And final round then of this heavyweight championship, and Tyson rather reluctantly, it seemed to me, wanted to touch gloves, the old formality. As I said before, it's a bit like the dentist getting a nice fella on the way in before he's about to perform. So, can either one of them really pull off that big finish? It's been known, of course, many times in the fight game. Both saturated with water. It's quite nippy here now at this time of night in the desert of Las Vegas. He is immensely fit, Tyson, that's for sure, because he's still got a lot of spring in his legs. He hasn't been on the receiving end that much, so I'm not surprised that he's still full of running in the last round. Referee doesn't score, by the way. One Mexican judge and two from Nevada. Saw the head shaking and the smiling from Smith, as if to say, well, they said you were a phenomenal puncher, but you haven't nailed me. when you think of Tyson's background. He hasn't done too badly for a fellow that's been learning his business there to gross $5 million before this fight. And there's jeering coming in the last round. I think they wanted to see them really have a go, and particularly Smith. Chance for Tyson. Tyson now from the crowd. And it's hard to fight a man who doesn't want to fight for the full 3 minutes of every round. So there's the countdown clock, and a little bit of play acting now from Smith. As if he's going to say, well, I'm satisfied to have stayed the course with you. And that was a hard right hand from Smith, and he recognised it, and I think Tyson did. And this will keep going after the bell. And he saved almost to the last 10 seconds his best punch of the fight, I thought, Bone Crusher Smith. But now at least the old gladiators have brought a smile now and finished up mates and made a lot of money together. And got rid of all that tension and hate that seems to have been shown all the way through. Formality surely now of the judges' cards for Tyson to have to go the full 12 rounds in his first 12-round fight. And there's the cut you can see over Smith there. They did well to patch up.
Here is the decision of the judges. Judgments have it scored 120, 106.
Oh, what a big score that is.
Judge Jojo Guerra's score
Every round of Tyson.
119, 107.
So he lost one
And Judge
round on that
Don
card.
Shirley scores 119,
Lost one round on that card.
107. For the new
Well,
WBA
a runaway points victory then, isn't it, for Mike Tyson.
Mike Tyson.
So he stood up to be the Iron Man for not going off his feet. There's a certain amount of disappointment, but Mike Tyson then retained his unbeaten record. And now the undisputed champion of the world, because Mike Spinks no longer holds the IBF version.
Well, he won it, but it was not the menacing fighter we're used to seeing. He looked a very frustrated young man. Now he's supposed to go through with a mandatory defense against the #1 WBA contender Tyrell Biggs on the 30th of May. Biggs fought here tonight. It was a very dramatic fight against David Bay. He won it, but he sustained a badly cut eye, so that May date may be in doubt. But it is expected that the climax of the Unification Series will be achieved in July. Now we're going to show you that Tyrell Biggs fight in a doubleheader next Saturday afternoon with the encounter between Sylvester Mitty and Curtin Lang for the vacant British welterweight title. See you then from all of us here in Las Vegas. Goodbye.